Good morning, good morning. How we doing this morning? Happy, what is today? Today is Thursday. Today's Thursday, y'all. How's y'all's week been? Good morning. How you doing this morning? Good morning, good morning. So, as we start the day, we are going to be doing quilt binding today. And we're going to do some smaller projects, and then we're going to move into a medium project. Good morning, Miss Lisa. You're up this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Like I said, today's binding day. We're going to work on binding quilts today. Good morning. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, Cha-Cha Sews. What is your name? I know I see you on here. Good morning, Jen. Up at 2 a.m. Good morning from Kentucky. Good morning from Arizona. We're here in Arizona this morning. Thank y'all for joining this morning. I appreciate y'all joining. So we're going to be doing binding this morning. So I have the easiest way to do binding because I know that is one thing that can be very, very hard. Nanessa, very cool. Oh, I like that name. That is a cool name. Very cool. Very nice to meet you. My name is Carrie, if you didn't know. So very nice to meet you, ma'am. So we're going to be doing binding. So we're going to start small because we have some little mug rugs that, so we did I did a tutorial on quilting in the hoop last week, and this is what we quilted last week, was some moose on some moose material. So I had some extra fabric, so I cut mug rugs out of them. So I have 2 of those available that we're going to do. So we're going to first bind these. So we want to start small. This is the easiest way to get going on. Good morning, Miss Cynthia. So this is the easiest way to get going on these, to learn how to do binding, is you just start small. So we're going to do a couple of the mug rugs with the binding. And then I have another placemat that I made. And this is a process of quilt as you go. We'll do another class on, we'll do another live on quilting as you go. But I have another placemat that I need binded. So we're going to go from binding the little mug rugs to a placemat. And then yesterday we quilted this one. And y'all, I got it all quilted yesterday. So all quilted. So turned out really pretty. It's going to be a pretty wall hanging. So it'll be a pretty wall hanging. I love flannel. Flannel just, it's just cozy. So you hear the embroidery machine going behind me. I need to start it again. I'm like addicted to these little bee mug rugs. These little bee mug rugs are just turning out. Good morning, Donna. So these little mug rugs are just turning out cute. We're going to be doing these next week, y'all. I'm going to show y'all how to do these next week. So, but I got to make a few while I'm at it because I'm like going crazy making them. So the one that's, here, I'll show y'all the one that's going right now. And then we'll start the process on binding. I'll show y'all which one's going right now. We're going to flip this camera. So this is the one that's making right now. Aren't those the cutest? They are super cute. And they're pretty easy. It stitches fairly easy, y'all. So super fun. So we'll be doing those next week. I'll show y'all how to do those next week. Right? Is that not gorgeous? She's super sweet. So, anyways. So, we'll get back to binding. We will get back to binding because today's binding day, y'all. We're having a binding party. We're going to do a binding party today. So, if we happen to get done with that one, I don't know if we'll get done with that one. We will move on to a bigger project. So, but we're definitely going to get a few made. Glad you made it on time. Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, we are going to be we're going to start with binding mug rugs first. We will move on to a placemat, and then we will move on to that quilted wall hanging that we did yesterday. So, first thing we're going to do. So we have 2 mug rugs to do. We have 2 mug rugs to do, and I think one strip will be enough to do 1 mug rug. So first thing you want to do is you want to measure it, and we're going to go to the long side. We're going to go to the long side. We're going to measure it to be big enough right there, and we're going to trim that off. Of course, you want to leave, so this is just a little trick. On each end, you want to fold in that. So you're going to have it here, and you're going to put right sides together on the back. So you're going to pin this on the back. So you have your back, and then you have your strip, and then you're going to pin that, and you're going to fold it just a little bit fold, not too much, on the end. So we're going to go here, and I got to find me some clips. So I'm going to clip that there. So then you're going to come over to the other side. Mug rugs are easy. Like I said, we're going to start small. We're going to start small. That way you won't be too overwhelmed. So we're going to cut this off just a little bit past the edge here. And then we're going to fold that one in there too. So we're going to fold that one in so it's folded on both sides. Hold on, let me grab some clips. So we're going to clip that one. So you have this clipped, and then what you're going to do is you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam across the top of that. But we want to go ahead and put it on both sides. So we're going to go to the other side, do the exact same thing. So you're going to take your it's 2.5 inch strip. I always use just a 2.5 inch strip. You can use different sizes depending on the thickness of your quilt, your flannel quilts. The flannel quilts, you definitely have to use a 2.5 inch strip. Your smaller ones, you can use like a 2-inch strip on those. So just depending on how big you want that binding. So what we're going to do, right sides together. So you have your back side and then the right side of your binding strip. You're going to fold it, just a little bitty fold, maybe 1 inch. It doesn't have to be that big. And we're going to clip it on here. I promise y'all, by the time you get done watching this live or you received an order from Marshall Home Goods this week. Oh, you're very welcome, Stephanie. Isn't that place phenomenal? I love the fabric. And the fabric's great also. The fabric is great. I love Marshall Dry Goods. So I want to actually take a road trip and go there. We should all take a road trip and be like, all right, we're meeting up there and then we're going to have lunch. So wouldn't that be the funnest? You've been to Marshall's? Oh, I am jelly. I am so jelly on that one. So now we're going to go to the other side and we're just going to cut enough to be able to fold over again. So you have your right sides together on here. And then you're just putting a little fold on the end of here. So you have the fold there. So now we're going to take and put another clip here. So we're going to put that clip there. Isn't it in Kentucky? Right? That would be cool. Old train station turned into a cafe. That would be yummy. Arkansas. It's in Arkansas. I couldn't remember if it was in Kentucky, Arkansas, somewhere around there. We just all need to move to Arkansas. We could all have a quilt group there, right? Wouldn't that be fun? I want a quilt group. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to do these separately. We're going to do one, and then we're going to do another one. So, because, you know, I want y'all... Yes, I would love to come live near you. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny, my husband and I were looking at houses there. Y'all, your guys' property and stuff is a lot cheaper than it is over here. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to come live by y'all. I need some more coffee this morning. Thanks for the follow, Catherine. Good morning and nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. Yeah, absolutely. And we could just all quilt. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so we have, yeah, it is definitely high. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. So we have right sides together. Then we have a little fold on each end of here. So now we're going to take and sew a 1/4 inch seam on the top of this. So we're going to go over to the sewing machine. So And I'm going to do these two separately. That way we can I want to kind of make sure that by the time we get done with this live today, y'all are very good and being able to wanting to try this. So it's not like there's oceanfront park. I agree, right? George Strait, funny story. So I went to a conference in San Francisco, and the conference, while I'm there, first night I'm there, what happens? Earthquake hits. And then my friend Lisa that's on here, she calls me. She goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, what the heck? That stupid song is going to come to life." Right, Lisa? That stupid song is going to come to life while I'm here. No. Arizona's going to have that oceanfront property, y'all. Fun. We're going to go back home on here. Sewing. I got to change the foot out on here. Okay, so you want to make sure, because I have the embroidery foot on, so I'm going to change and put this foot on here for the binding. So we're going to change this out. We got to change that color of that thread too. We had some fun with that color of thread the other day. Or yesterday. It was yesterday, huh? So you can actually hand tighten these, but I recommend using the screwdriver, and you don't want to like really tight, but just give it just enough, just that extra little push on there. So now we're going to change that thread out here. Thinking we'll just we're going to put some light blue on there. We'll put some light blue, and then we'll put a white bobbin in there. Stand up. Oh, that's funny. The song's saying stand up, and I go and stand up. Ha ha. All right. So we're going to go this way, and then we're going to add a white bobbin in here. How's everybody's morning? Hopefully everybody's morning is going good. We are going to have fun with binding today, y'all. And by the time we're done with this live, I promise you're going to be like, I want to try binding. I want to try binding. You can do this. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. All right. So, like I said, we are starting small. We're starting with a little mug rug. We're going to do a little mug rug. It's cold there. It's cold here this morning. Wow. Can you send me some? I'm like sweating. It's hot. So we have a little mug rug, Vermont. Ooh, very cool. I've never been to Vermont. I'd love to visit Vermont. I'll come visit you, Stephanie. That'd be fun. We'll have a quilting weekend. Okay. So we have a little mug rug. And what I've done is I've taken a 2.5-inch strip, and I've pinned it right sides together. And then I've put a little fold on each side of it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a stitch, just a 1/4-inch stitch on the side of there. 47 in New Hampshire. Man, y'all are cool. Lisa, we need to go on a road trip. I think we need to go on a road trip, Miss Lisa. Okay, so now we're gonna, good morning. Thank you. I love the little heart me. He is just a sweetheart. All right, so we are going to go ahead and sew that 1/4-inch seam. And I just do the width of the foot there, so we're gonna sew across here. Like I said, we're starting small. We're starting with mug rugs. We're going to start with mug rugs. Then we're going to move into a road trip, right, Lisa? Lisa and I love road trips. So we're going to start small with these little mug rugs. Then we're going to move into a placemat. And then we'll move into that wall hanging. So this is the easiest way to practice doing binding. Easiest way to practice doing binding. Okay. So we're going to cut that. Okay. So here's the trick, y'all. So now we're going to go over to the other side. So what you do is you're going to fold it up, and you're going to fold this down. So I'm trying to see if I can show you guys. So you have this, and you're going to fold it down, and you're going to line it right up with that seam right there where you just stitched. It's hard to do when you're holding it. And then you're going to fold it up like this. So you have it lined. Hold on, I'm going to show you. So you have it line, the edge of the fabric is actually behind that stitching right there. And then you're going to fold it. Then you're going to fold it over. So you'll fold it over like this, and you have that edge. That way you don't have a raw edge right there. So you have it folded over like this, and then you pin it. Pin it, clip it, however you want to do it works. So we're gonna clip it. So hold on, let me flash goal. We have flash goal this morning. What's our flash goal? Half time I miss those flash goals, y'all. All right, there we go. So now I'm gonna clip this, and I'll show you guys. And I'm gonna show you the stitch that you're gonna want to use. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to the other side. We're gonna go, and we're gonna do 2 mug rugs. We'll do 2 mug rugs. So I want you guys to learn how to do this one. So we're going to take, thank you guys for all the Hermes. He's so cute. He's just the cutest thing. Thank you. Thank you. So you have your 2.5-inch strip. You sewed across the top. You've got a fold on both sides. So you're going to take that fold of that fabric, and you see there's you see that seam right there? You're going to fold the edge of that seam, the fabric right up to that seam right there. So you have that folded right up there. And then you're just going to take, and you're going to pull it up like this. And then when you pull it up, hold on, I got to flip it over here. I'm using my leg as a table here. So when you flip it over, that fabric is actually behind that stitch right there. So it is behind there. So then what you're going to do is, once you have it behind there, you're going to actually just fold it over like this. That gives you your binding right there. So then you take and clip it on there. So, and then you have your seam right there. Being that it was folded, you don't have a raw edge there. And the next one, I promise you, on the next side, you're going to have that corner. Because you know how you're very welcome, Donna. You're very welcome. So you know how you want that corner on there, and you want a really cool corner. We're going to get a cool corner, I promise. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you the stitch that I use. The trick is in a stitch. That trick is always in that stitch. And there's a few different stitches that you can use. I'm clipping it. Hold on one moment. I'm clipping it right quick. Get it clipped. I'm using my lap here. I'm using my lap. So, all right. So we have it all clipped. So that side's clipped. That side's clipped. Now we need to pick that stitch. Let me show you guys that stitch. This is the biggest thing, guys. This is where you want to, thanks for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. So you have your stitch, you've sewed your 1/4-inch seam, you've got it folded over, you need to stitch that on there. So this is the stitch I use. So that 3-18 is the stitch I can use. You can use that 317, 319, and it's a different number on your machine depending on what brand of machine you have, what model machine, whatever. Just see if you can find a stitch that kind of looks like that. But you also want to, if you have the capability, you want to go down here to this width, and you want to go up to 7 millimeters, or as, you know, depending on how big that your foot is dependent on how big you can go. So again, this 3-18, I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of it, that 317, 318, 319, any of those will work. And I'm going to show y'all how that actually works, because you're late, Robin. What the heck? So I'm doing two what do you call it, mug rugs. So don't worry, you'll get to see the whole process again there, Robin. So you can actually use that, what is that one, 308? You know how, so what you're looking for is you're looking for that stitch that goes down the middle. See how there's that stitch that goes down the middle? That stitch is actually going to go on the edge of your fabric. So it's actually going to go right there on the edge. So you're going to center your foot, and then that line that goes down the middle right there is going to go down that line right there. And then when you're stitching, it's going to go grab both sides of that fabric. And you want to make sure that when you're sewing, you don't push, you don't pull, you let those feed dogs pull it. You let those feed dogs pull it, and it works really well. So let's go ahead and sew these. Flip this camera here. Let's go ahead and get these sewed so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about with the line that goes right there on the edge. Like I said, you want to make sure you get right there on the edge of there. So we're going to come here. So we're going to start up here, line it up. Like I said, line the center of that foot right there on the edge of this fabric where your binding's at. So I'm going to press this down. And then when you start, like I said, you're gonna keep it right there on the edge, and what it does is it goes and grabs both sides. It'll grab the quilt, and then it'll grab that binding too. Once we get it stitched, I'll show you guys here. And the color of bobbin you use, I always use a coordinating color of whatever your backing is. So if you've got a black backing, use a black thread. If you have a red backing, use a red thread. So check that out, guys. Is that not the coolest thing? That makes the easiest binding stitch I have seen. Absolutely, absolutely. You can use this. So we're starting with these mug rugs. We're going to move on up into a placemat today, and then we're also going to move up to a what do you call it? That wall hanging that we quilted yesterday. So this will work for any of them. This will work for any of them. So you are very welcome, Brittany. You're very welcome. So as you see the back, you see why I say use a coordinating color of whatever your backing color is, because you really can't see that stitch. The stitch is there, but it's okay, because your main stitch that you're going to see is the one that's on front. So those are the ones that works out really well. So again, we're going to come over to this side. You're going to line the middle of that foot up right there on the edge of that fabric. That way that center stitch goes and grabs it, and you're going to go back and forth on there. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning. All right. So we're going to come back here again, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to line the middle of your foot right up with the edge of that fabric. Right up with the edge of that fabric. That way it goes, and you're putting the edging. There's a middle stitch. I'll show you guys here in a minute again. And then as you're going, like I said, let those feed dogs pull it. Don't push it. Don't pull it. Let the machine pull it. Because if you pull it or push that fabric, it's going to change the width of those stitches. And you don't want to change the width of those stitches. So I know sometimes it's harder the bigger quilt that you get. That quilt starts to pull, so you got to be careful on there. So okay, so we've now got those on there. Is that not the coolest stitch? And like I said, it sews right down the middle. And let me show you that stitch again. I'll show you that stitch again here. Flip this around here. So again, we're using that 3-18 stitch. And you see how it has that stitch that goes right down the middle? So what it does is it sews that stitch, and as it's sewing that stitch down the middle, it goes back and forth and grabs the back, the binding and the quilt as it's coming down. And then right there, as you see, it's sewed that stitch right there next to the binding, but yet it's gone and grabbed the binding and the quilt at the same time. And it makes it really cool stitch. So now we're going to move to the other side, and I'll show you guys how we're going to get that corner. I'll show you guys how we're going to get that corner. We're going to flip back around here. Flip back around. Isn't that cool, Kimberly? Like I said, I promise you guys, by the time you're done today, you're going to want to do binding. Like I said, start small. Start with little mug rugs. So we're going to do little mug rugs. We got 2 mug rugs we're going to do. And then we're going to move on to a placemat. We're going to do a placemat. And then we'll move on to that wall hanging that we quilted yesterday. So I want y'all to feel comfortable. I want you to be able to do a binding on a quilt. So, and definitely a baby quilt is something good to start with. So holy cow, y'all, we have already hit 10K this morning. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. So now, okay, so we have our little mug rug. So now we need to do this side. So same thing as we did on the other side. You're going to take right sides. Oops, almost did it on the front. So I make quilts, but the binding is, Brittany, the binding is no longer going to be your enemy. I promise you. I did the square and made coasters. Awesome, Kimberly. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so we're going to take this 2.5-inch strip. We're going to go right sides together. So you're going to go right side of the strip and right side of the little mug rug here. But you can't forget, you need to put a fold. You got to put a fold there. So you're putting a fold on both sides of this. And you'll understand where that fold comes into play once we sew this strip here. Hold on, let me Grab some clips here again. These little clips are a savior, y'all. Okay, so we have that little clip there. So now we're gonna come over to the other side and we're gonna cut it. Make sure you leave enough room for it to fold back over. So we're gonna fold this one over, and it's just enough, you know, maybe an inch, inch and a half, however big you want it. I mean, however big it works. So, all right. So here we go. So we're gonna put a clip here. So we have that side. So now we'll go ahead and go over to the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing. So you're going to take 2.5 inch strip, put a fold in it, right sides together. So the right side of your, and this is the back of your quilt, back of your, whatever you're working on, it's the back of it. So then you take and put the edge of that with the fold. You got to have that fold on there. And then you go over to the other side and do the exact same thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. It works, I promise. So we're gonna cut enough for a fold on this side. So give us a fold on this side and then clip it here. Okay, so same thing we did. Good morning, Miss Georgia. So same thing we did on this side, but we've come to this side and we've folded these. And you're gonna see where this fold comes into play. You're going to see where this fold comes into play after we sew this. So we're going to go back to the machine again. We're going to sew that straight stitch across here, and we're going to sew that straight stitch across here. And you're going to see where the corner comes into play. Because we are going to be putting a corner, because we want a cool corner on here, right? We got to have a cool corner. So let me get you guys back on here. I'm going to have my husband work on my phone holder here. All right. So we're going to go back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew across here again. Like I said, we're going to sew just 1/4 inch seam right across here. Turn around, 1/4 inch seam there. And then the next step is the best part, y'all. Next step is the best part. Y'all are going to get excited. I get excited. I'm saying y'all are going to get excited, but I promise. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to try this. The heck with work today. I'm just going to sew today, right? It's like, I don't want to work. Let's sew. Okay. So this is where it comes into play. So you have, you're retired. I'm jelly, Robin. I am jelly. All right. So this is where the trick comes into play. You have those folded corners. So you have your strip. You fold it up like this. But before you fold it into your fabric, what you're going to do, you know how you do Christmas wrapping paper or birthday gifts? When you wrap that gift and you kind of fold the edge for the corners, you fold that edge for the corner, you're going to do the same thing here. So you're going to put a fold there and then see, so you're taking the corner like this and then you're folding it right to the edge of that strip. So you're putting a fold there. So you're going to put a fold here. That's what I'm thinking of as like Christmas gifts. And then you're going to fold this up like this. Hold on. It's kind of hard to hold up. So you're going to fold it up. So you're putting the edge of your fabric up to the edge of your stitch there. And then you're going to fold this up like this. And then once you fold it up like this, you have it folded up. The fabric is behind there. And then you're going to come there. Look what you just did. You just created a corner on the edge. You just created a corner on the edge. So I got it off a little bit. So I'm going to get that folded there. Kind of hard to do it when you're awesome. Glad you're liking it, Miss Brittany. Glad you're liking it. Okay. So let me clip this and I'm going to show you guys. You'll have a corner. Okay. So you see now how you have that corner? You now have a corner on your binding. You have a corner on both sides of your binding. And what I do is I go and stitch down this way, come across, and then stitch back up. That way you have it completely stitched down. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. So you have this. And again, like you're wrapping gifts. That's the only thing I can think of is like you're wrapping gifts. So you take that corner and you pull it over, just like you put the corners on wrapping gifts. Possibly, I don't know. It could possibly. I haven't tried curved corners, but we could try it one day. I don't know. It could possibly work. So we're going to take and do, so again, you're going to do, fold both corners. And when you're doing a bigger project, you want it won't quite look like this, but you want to do this on each end. On each end, you're going to actually go in and do a corner. And then you're going to take and fold it up like this to the edge of your fabric, and then you're going to flip it up. So let me fix my corners, because trying to hold it up and do that is sometimes fun. So let me fold my corners. That way you guys can see. So once you fold your corners, you're going to take and pull it to the other side. When you pull it to the other side, you have that corner there. You get a corner right there. And that's why you fold that, put the folds in the fabric. Because if you didn't have the folds in the fabric when you sew the what do you call it? Sew the binding strip on there, it ends up, good morning, Amy, good morning. You end up with a raw edge here. So you don't want that raw edge. So that's why you put that fold right there on there. So let's go ahead and clip this, and I'm going to show y'all that stitch again. I'll show y'all that stitch again. And we have one more mug rug to do. So we'll go through this whole process again on the mug rug. And then, good morning, Miss Maddie. And then we will move on. Theirs don't match. Do I have to cut the strips on a... You know, no. So the strips that you get, you can, like I said, you can do 2-inch strips. You can do 2.5-inch strips. You can use however big a strips you want. So I just sew them. Like I said, we'll do this one again because I have 2 mug rugs to do. So we'll do another mug rug. We'll do another mug rug so you can see. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you what stitch we're going to use. I'm going to show you what stitch we're going to use. So we're going to come back over to this, the edges don't match. Oh, on my, you mean on my binding? Okay, here, let me show you. So you'll see. So it comes down depending on, so I kind of like them to be like this. So what I'll do is we're going to stitch down this side, come across right there, and then back up the other side. And I think it makes a cool corner like that. Those are the kind of corners that I like. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So, you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to go to the stitch. Yes, we're going to come over here and go to the stitch. So we're going to go to 3. So this 3-18 is the best stitch. This is the best stitch that I've found. But that 3-17, 3-19 will also work. You want something that's going to put a stitch down the middle. You want something that's going to put a stitch down that middle. So you come over here and you want to increase the width on that stitch to about 7 millimeters. It does, yes. Yeah, it's like a frame kind of. So now what you're going to do is you see how you have that stitch, and you see how it has that stitch that goes right down the middle. That stitch that goes right down the middle is going to go to the edge of your fabric. So you see how it's stitched on this one? You're going to put the middle of your foot right there on the edge of the fabric. That way it goes and grabs the fabric, the binding fabric and your quilt fabric just on both sides of there. So thank y'all for the follows. Thank y'all for the follows. So again, that 3-18 is the one I'm going to use, but the 3-17, 3-19, either one of those will work. And y'all might find other stitches that you like. You know, there's all kinds of different stitches that you can use. So, but let's go ahead. And like I said, we're going to take in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down. So I'm going to sew down the corner. I'm going to come down the edge like this. And then I'm going to go over and then back up that other edge. So let's go ahead and flip this camera back around. And we're going to go back and do, we have one more mug rug to do. So we'll do another mug rug. and then we will do a placemat. We'll move on to a bigger project as a placemat. Once we get that placemat done, I've got a wall hanging that we quilted yesterday, and we'll be doing the binding on that one. So let's go ahead. Like I said, we're going to stitch down this way, come across, and stitch up. That gives it that corner. I kind of like the corners. Okay, so we're going to come back over here. Like I said, there's really no perfect way to do things. That's why it's called quilting. Personally, you know, there's mishaps in quilting. There's all kinds of fun stuff. So, like I said, you're going to take your foot and center it. That way, that straight stitch is coming across the edge here. So we're going to go down the corner here first. Like I said, let your machine pull the fabric. And then you're going to turn it this way. And then we're going to come across this edge here. And the majority of your machines, I've got a few different types of machines, and pretty much every one has something similar to this stitch. So, and then we're going to turn and we're going to come back up that stitch. We're going to cut that corner. We're going to trim this. And it is kind of like a frame. I think you're right. I think it's kind of like a frame. I don't know. I like it personally. It's what I do. So, like I said, everybody does it differently. So, okay. So, there is the corner. I kind of like how it turns out. I mean, you end up with like a little corner there and it comes across. So, all right. So, let's go ahead. Thanks for the follows. So, now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So, we're going to sew down the corner, come across, and so back up the other corner. And then you've officially binded a little mug rug. We've officially binded a little mug rug. We'll do one more mug rug. Thanks for the follow. We'll do one more mug rug. Grab this. So we're going to go down this corner here. Center that foot right there on the edge of your fabric there. Turn it. Then we're going to come this way. Make sure you keep the center of that foot right there on the edge. That way that line goes right there. And then once we get to the corner here, we're going to turn it and then come back this way. And then cut that one. Okay. Trim this. We've officially binded a little mug rug. We have officially binded a little mug rug. And like I said, on the back, thank you for the roses. You're so sweet. On the back, you see, this is why I say use a coordinating color of whatever your fabric is on the back. That way you'll see, you can see the stitch back there, but it's not obtrusive. Is that a word? Obtrusive? I think that's a word. So let's go ahead and we're going to do one more mug rug. We're going to go through this whole process again on another mug rug. And then, like I said, we'll move on to a bigger project. So we have 2 mug rugs, and then we'll do a placemat, and then we will move on to the bigger project. So like I said, what do I use mug rug for? Mug rugs. Here's your coffee mug. That way, that's what I use mug rugs for your coffee. So that way, or your glass of iced tea, your glass, whatever you're drinking, you put that coffee cup on your mug rug. That way your ring doesn't go onto your table or whatever that condensation, sometimes it does that. So yeah, so cool. So, but next week, y'all, I'm going to show y'all how to make these. Thank you. I appreciate you. Good morning, Amy. So next week, I'm going to show y'all how to make these mug rugs. And I was talking to Cynthia last night. I think we could use these for mouse pads too. So, but coasters, yes, coasters, mug rugs, however you want to call them. So, but I call them mug rugs because your coffee mug sits on them, right, Amy? Oh my gosh, I have one sitting in the embroidery machine right now. I'm loving these little cows. These little cows are just the cutest little things. Okay, so we're going to do one more mug rug. We'll do one more mug rug. So like I said, I have another mug rug, and then we're going to go and do the placemat. We did a placemat. This one is quilting in the hoop. We made this last week, and we have binding. Yes, it'll be fun, Miss Cynthia. So once we'll do one more mug rug, then we'll do a placemat, and then we're going to move on into and quilt and bind this. That way you guys can see the process works for no matter how big it is, it works. So we've got one mug rug done. Let's do another mug rug. Let's do another one. So we're going to use a different binding. That one goes to those. Okay. So we're going to use a different binding on this. In England, they use mug rugs for their tea and biscuits. Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's exciting. What batting do you use for your quilts? So I use cotton batting. I get it. I actually get it from Walmart. Not actually in Walmart, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all a little tip. So go to Walmart.com and Google quilt by the bolt. Google quilt by the bolt. Y'all, I just bought 4 bolts of batting because it was on sale for $40 a bolt because they had it at sale. So, but yeah, go to Walmart.com and Google. You can't get it in the store. You got to get it online. For some reason or another, I don't know why they sell this I know, right, Amy? I have no idea why they sell the batting like they do by the bolt for so cheap, but I take advantage of it. I take total advantage of it. So quilt by the bolt. No, batting by the bolt. Batting by the bolt, Cynthia. Oh, you're saying quilt. Yeah. No, go. I promise you. Here, watch. I'm going to show you something. We're going to go to Walmart.com. I'm going to show you. We're going to Walmart. We're going to Google. We're going to Google for a minute. Batting by the bolt. So, oh my gosh, cotton batting right now is on sale, y'all. You might want to go check it out. So, cotton batting by the bolt, $53 right now, guys. This is the batting I buy. And like I said, you can't get it in right. I just happened to a few years back, I happened to, come across it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this a joke? I have been ordering from them for years now. So if you need batting, like I said, you can't buy it in the store for that because they sell it for a lot more in the store. But y'all, you can get free shipping on the batting, and comes right to your house. Have I made bowl koozies? Yes. We had, let's see, where's my bowl koozie? Okay, here we go. Hold on. So we did a class last week on bowl koozies. So, yeah, we have fun with those. We have lots of fun. Anyways, okay, back to the binding, y'all. Back to binding. Walmart.com. Here, let me show you. I'm going to show you because I went and Googled it for y'all. So go to Walmart.com and search batting by the bolt. Batting by the bolt. And look, y'all, cotton batting, 96 by 9 yards at $53 right now. It's on sale. It is on sale, y'all. I like to catch it when it's on sale and get a few bolts. So, but that is definitely where I get my batting. Definitely where I get my batting. So, just as an idea. Okay. Hot. Back to binding. Sorry, guys. I go off on squirrels. Okay. So now, we're going to do another mug rug. We just did this mug rug. So let's do another one. You are very welcome. So here we have our mug rug. We're going to do another one of these. So this is the backing. You want to take your backing and you're going to take the right sides. You're going to put right sides together on this. So you're going to take and put a fold. This one's kind of hard to see the right sides. Right sides that way. So you're going to fold back. So you're going to put a little fold on this edge. Put a little fold on this edge. My glasses start falling when I start sweating here. And you're going to put a clip there. Like I said, right sides together on here. So then you're going to come to the other side, and then you're going to cut the other side. You want to make sure and leave enough for you to put that fold there on that edge. So we're going to come back on this side, put a fold there, and put another clip. I had my eyeglass holders at work, and I left them there. But they go behind your ear, and it keeps your glasses from going down. Okay. It's not, no, I said cotton. It's not 100% cotton. It's just cotton batting. Because I think it's part, yeah, because it's 93% cotton and 7%, yeah. Because the only 100% cotton I think you can get is that, what is it, Warm and Natural? I think Warm and Natural has the 100% cotton. So we have the fold here, the fold here, and then we come here, wrap and zap. Yes, Cynthia. All right. Cotton. I'm using cotton. I'm using cotton. I find even if you have like a flannel quilt, you can use flannel in there, but I find the cotton works really well. It folds over a lot easier. So right sides together. Warm and Natural is what you use for your pot holders? Yeah. Wrap and Zap's the only one. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thanks for the pointer. Hey, I appreciate tips. That's what we're here for, y'all, is to give tips to each other. If I say something wrong, let me know. I don't mind. I don't mind. Okay. So we're going to put a fold here. Like I said, you put a fold on this side. You're going to put right sides together. So the right side of your strip to the right side of your, of there. So, yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to put, like the, what's that one batting? Like the is it polyester? I forget what that other batting is. I've used it like once, and I'm like, yeah, no. I think I'll pass. I like this batting. This batting has become my favorite batting, so. All right. So, here we go. So what we've done is we've got right sides together. We've got the fold on there, and then we clip it, and then we're going to do just a 1/4 inch seam there, and then we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam on here. And you're pinning it to the back. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow. So you're pinning it to the back of your quilt, your placemat, whatever you're working on. So whatever you're working on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go stitch this. I'm going to take the other part of this over there. That way we can see what we're going to do here. So we'll get this one all done, and then we'll move to the placemat. I like the placemat turns out really cool because I already have one done. Okay. But yeah. All right, here we go. Like I said, we're going to go back here. Put you over there. We're going to go back to a straight stitch here. So now we're going to do, whoops, wrong side. So we're just going to sew across the edge here, guys. We're just going to sew across the edge. And then we'll grab that other edge. And said, this is the easiest way to try the binding out. Everybody does binding different. Some people, my mother-in-law hand binds her stuff. She doesn't machine bind hers. So there's a lot of different ways on doing binding. I just find if you are nervous, you're going to clear your screen so you can watch. I just find if you're nervous about doing binding, this is an easy way to do binding and make it where you can actually get your quilts all finished up. So, okay. So we have sewed on the side. You have that fold on both edges here. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take that strip and you're going to fold it up to where that seam is at. So that seam that you just sewed, you're folding the edge of that fabric up to that seam. Once you fold that edge of that fabric up to the seam, you're going to take and you're going to pull it up. You're going to pull it up like this. So then let me turn it around so you guys can see. So when you look on the other side, your fabric is actually behind the edge of your quilt. It's behind the edge of your quilt. And once you do that, then you're going to fold it back over again. So when you fold it, then you're going to clip it there. So you have the edge there where the fold is. That way you don't have the raw edge of fabric there. And the same on that side. And then once we add the other side, it'll cover up all those raw edges. So, well, let me clip this one, then I'll show you again on the other side. I'll show you again on the other side. Clip this one. Clip this one. Okay. So we're going to go back to the other side. Okay. So you have your folded edges here. So we're going to, thanks for the follow. So we're going to fold this up right there to that seam. So you have that seam that you just stitched right across there. So you're going to fold this up right there to the seam. And then you're going to fold it up again. And when you fold it up again, let me flip it around. So when you, this is the easiest way to show you guys is on a little mug rug. So when you fold it around, you see that that stitch, the fabric is actually behind that other stitch. Then you're going to take and you're going to fold it over again. So then you clip it here, and then this is where you're going to actually stitch it across there. So let me grab a clip again. I said everybody does binding different. There is so many different ways to do binding, but I found, so the width is 2.5 inch strips. I use 2.5 inch strips. Yeah. This is an easy way to do it, Miss Amy. This is an easy way to do it. And let me pop you guys off here because I'm going to show you the stitch I use. I think this is the biggest thing is the stitch. Like I said, there's different kinds of stitches that you can use, all kinds of different stitches. I'm on a Luminaire too. Every machine has different stitches, but you can find one that is kind of like this one. It is the one I recommend. Is it the perfect one? It's the perfect one for me, but you know, it can be different. So I take that 3-18. So I think the 317, 18, or 19, any three of those you could use. The 318 is my favorite one though. So I take that stitch and then I increase the width to 7 millimeters there. That way it makes it just a little bit bigger. So then you have that stitch that goes up the middle of your foot there, and then you see where it goes and grabs both sides. It'll grab that binding and it'll grab the quilt. And that way it goes there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take and center that foot with the edge of it right there in the middle. That way that seam goes right down the edge of your fabric, and then it goes and grabs both sides. So let's go ahead and stitch this again. We're going to flip this around. Okay. So we're going to stitch right down the middle here. Like I said, let your machine pull that fabric. You don't want to push, you don't want to pull. Let the machine pull the fabric that way, because if you push or pull, it's going to change the width of those stitches. So you kind of let the machine do the pulling. And the bobbin, I always put, isn't that cool? Every so often I freeze up. I'm sorry, Robin. Am I freezing for everybody? So we're going to go ahead and sew the other side. Like I said, you center the edge of that fabric right there in the center of your foot. That way that line goes right there to the edge. Okay. No freezing your way? Okay. I'm sorry, it might be on your side, Miss Robin. I'm sorry. Okay. So there you see where you have the stitch that comes down, and then, but it goes and grabs both sides there. So it works out really well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the other edge. We're going to go ahead and do the other edge. I cheated. I brought it over here. So now what we're going to do, so we're going to go back to the back side of this. We're going to trim those threads right quick. Okay. So now what we're going to do is you take the right side of your fabric and to the right side of this one, and you got make sure you get that fold in there. Make sure you get that fold. This is going to keep you from having a raw edge on your corner. So we're going to put a fold there. We're going to clip it, and then we're going to come over to this side. We're going to do the same thing. So you want to make sure, so you're going to trim this off, but you want to make sure that you leave enough that you can have that fold there. So we're going to trim that off there. So then we're going to fold it over. Want to make sure you have a fold there. So you have a fold on both sides. You've got right sides there. I used the embroidery machine to quilt these mug rugs. We did this one on a live last week. So we'll do more. We'll do more quilting. So what I did is I just took a big piece of fabric. I was showing y'all how to quilt in the hoop. So what I did is I just took a big piece of fabric, and once I got all of it quilted, I cut it up and made little mug rugs out of it. So mug rugs, placemats, whatever you want out of the piece of fabric. So it's the easiest way to make little mug rugs. So, and the fun thing is, if you look, there's little moose quilted into there too. Isn't that fun? They're just little fun moose. So we have folded here, like I said, right sides together, fold on both sides. So now we're going to come to this side. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go right side. I'm bound determined to sew it upside down. So we're going to clip it here, and I'm going to throw a clip on the floor. So we're going to clip it there with a fold, come over here to this side. We're going to trim this one, fold this one over here. So you have a fold on both sides. Isn't the moose stitching fun? I was like, I found the moose material. I was like, oh, let's see if we have some moose to go along with it. And I happen to find some. So, okay. So we have that. So now what we're going to do, what size are the mug rugs? They are, let's see. I just cut them up. So let's see how big they are. So they are 8 by 5. They're 8 by 5s. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, what I did is I took a piece of fabric, like I said, a fairly big size piece of fabric, quilted it on the embroidery machine, and then cut it up into mug rugs. It's quick mug rugs. Yeah, it's a good size. It's a fairly good size. So what we're going to do, like I said, we have right sides. So you have right side together, a fold on each side. Now we're going to sew a stitch across the top. A stitch across top, and then I'm going to show you those corners again. I'm going to show you the corners again. Let's go back over here, go back to that straight stitch. We're going to come to this side. Put a straight stitch across here. And cut that one. Okay, here comes the corners, y'all. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Okay, so now what we have, so we have our folded corners, right sides together. Here comes the corner, guys. Here comes your corner. Like folding doing a Christmas gift. I don't know. I keep going back to Christmas gifts because I think about when my mother was showing me how to wrap Christmas gifts. She goes, you got to fold that corner. You got to fold that corner to make it have a really cool corner. So you're going to take and fold this corner. So you're going to fold it like this right to the edge of your stitching too. And then, like I said, the bigger project you get, you'll have, it won't quite look like this, but this kind of looks like a Christmas gift. So then you're going to fold this up right to that corner too. So you've folded the corners like this. Then you're going to fold the rest of the fabric up to the edge of that stitching. So you have it all folded like this. Then you're going to fold it all the way up like this. So let me show you. Let me get it. Flip it over. So you have it all folded like that. And it's all behind your quilt. So that once you have it there, yeah, like a present, yeah. So once you have it there, then you're gonna fold it over and then you'll have your corner. So there, it gives you your corner across there. So, and somebody was like, it's like a frame. And you're right, I think it is kind of like it kind of does look like a frame. So let me fix this corner right quick. Holding it up kind of, and the bigger you get, the bigger project that you're quilting on. Let me clip this and I'll show you guys the corners. I think it's cool. I kind of like these. So then you have, so you'll go and stitch down that corner, across, and then back up that corner, and it gives you a little thing. Isn't this easy way to bind? I mean, it makes it, thanks for the follows, y'all. It makes it where you're not intimidated. I tell you, I was intimidated for so long on doing quilt binding. I'm like, I can't do quilt binding. No, my mother did the binding on the quilts for years. She's like, I'll bind. She goes, that's my job. I like to bind. I'm like, okay, have fun, you know? And then Ma's gone, so I had to figure this out. So needless to say, yeah, I worried so many years for nothing because this is an easy way to do it. So again, you have your 2.5-inch strip, right sides together, fold on each side. Now we're gonna make that Christmas gift. Yes, absolutely, Miss Amy. I love my mother. I miss her. So we're gonna fold this like a Christmas gift. So you're gonna put that corner there. You're gonna put this corner here. So you have the corners, and then you're gonna fold this up. So everything is lining up with your stitch that you stitched across the top of the edge of your binding of your quilt there. Once you have it all folded there, so you have your corner, and then the rest of the fabric is folded up to the top. And then we're going to fold it up like this. Once you fold it up like that, you'll notice everything is behind that. Once it's all behind that, then you're just going to fold it over like this. Then you have your corners. Let me fix this right quick. So like I said, holding it up and trying to do that is sometimes interesting. So so your bigger projects, when I do this on my bigger projects, like your quilts and stuff, I lay it out on my bed. I'll lay it out on my bed to do. So let me get this on here and get it clipped. That way you guys can see it. Once we get this one done, we'll move on to that placemat. We'll move on to a placemat. That way you guys can see it. So there's the edge of your quilt. I think it's a cool corner. I like the corners. So, and then you have that corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down the corner, go across, and go up that corner. All right, Miss Donna, we'll miss you. I'll continue to post my lives on YT. So go and check them out on YT. So thank you guys very much for hanging out with me in the morning. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Donna. Thank you, Miss Donna. All right. So we're going to go back over here and I'll show you guys that stitch. I'm going to show you guys that stitch again. I'll just keep showing you the stitch. If I show it too many times, just let me know. I just want to make sure that you guys can see every process of this. And just in case there's somebody new in here that didn't see. So you do that straight stitch on there. But as you come to here, we're going to do that 3-18. But 317, 318, 319. Good morning, Sue. Any of those stitches will work. Good morning, Miss Nikki. Nikki, I got to go to Payson this morning. I'm sorry. So then what we're going to do is we're going to increase the width of this stitch to 7 millimeters. We're going to increase the width of that stitch to the 7 millimeters because you're going to see you have that straight stitch that goes down the middle. So you have that straight stitch and then you're going to go and cross and it's going to grab the binding on the one side and it's going to grab the quilt on the other side. So try it. I promise you. Get you a couple, just take a piece of batting and fabric and then and get it quilted together and then you'll be able to see. And just try it out. Like I said, I wanted to show you guys on little mug rugs. That way you guys can try it on a little mug rug. Easiest way. Get some mug rugs, get some placemat. I was afraid of binding too. I was totally afraid of binding. That's why I want to do these lives. I want to do these lives so y'all won't be so intimidated by doing binding. So we're going to move from this and we'll do the placemat next. We'll go on to a bigger project. So thank you for the follows. Thanks for the follows. So now we have this and we're going to go down this corner, across, and then back up that corner. So let's go back here. And like I said, you want to put the middle of your foot right on the edge of the fabric. That way that straight stitch goes right there on the edge. And then we're going to turn it here, keeping the middle of your foot right there on the edge. That way that straight stitch goes right there on the edge. And then it goes and it grabs your binding and grabs the quilt as it's coming across. Then we're going to turn it, and then we're going to come back up here. We're going to cut that. Let me trim this, and I'll show you guys. Get this trimmed. I got to vacuum my floor. Okay. Hold on, we got a puzzle. Puzzle's there. Okay. So we've now done our corner. So it comes down, goes across, and then goes back up. I think it looks really cool. I like it. All right. So now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to go down that corner, come across, and then go back up that corner. And then, like I said, we will move on to a bigger project, that placemat, and we're going to come across here. And then up here. All right, we will go back to the cutting table here. Thanks for the shares and thanks for the likes. Y'all, we're at 33,000 likes today. Holy cow. Can I say holy cow? Holy cow. That is awesome. You guys are awesome this morning. All right. So we have officially done 2 mug rugs. We have binded 2 mug rugs. Let me trim this. And I think it's cool. I think it makes it, that is the coolest way, easiest way. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Easiest way to do binding, y'all. And so, like I said, you use a coordinating color of whatever backing you have. So depending on what backing you have, that's the color of bobbin that you want to use. That way you can see the stitches there, but it's the same color. So it doesn't really pop out. It doesn't really pop out. So now what we'll do is we will move on to the placemat. So they said 2 mug rugs. Yeah. So much easier, guys. So much easier. So now let's do a placemat, y'all. Let's do a placemat. So we're going to take this placemat and we're going to do the binding on this. Thank you for the shares. Thanks for the shares, y'all. Y'all are awesome. And thanks for all the follows. Thanks for all the follows. I have my schedules. We'll be posting another schedule for next week. Next week, we're going to be having some fun. I'm going to show y'all how to Miranda a quilt. So this is freehand. This is all freehand on this one that we're going to do next week. So that'll probably be on a Wednesday. I think we'll do that Wednesday. I think Wednesday is going to be our quilting days. So we'll be doing that. We're going to make a bear next week. I'm going to show y'all how to do these little mug rugs in the embroidery machine. We'll be doing these little mug rugs in the embroidery machine. Fridays are rope day. We'll have to have some fun on Fridays. We still have a day. Anybody have any requests? Let me know. Let me know. I'll be posting these for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Isn't that the funnest? I have to show you something. I have to show you something because I have one sitting in the embroidery machine right now that she is, look at her. Is she not cute? Come back. They're like blurred up. Isn't that the cutest? That one is. Did I post the koozies? I have not. Right? Exactly, right? They're complete cuteness overload. Complete cuteness overload. Okay. So now we've done the mug rugs. We've done the mug rugs, binded the mug rugs. Let's move to a bigger project. So we're going to move to a placemat. We're going to do a placemat. So these are placemats that I made. We did quilt as you go on these placemats. They turned out really pretty. Is that not the prettiest? We'll do another live on quilt as you go. It's easy, it's fun, and it's all quilted. It's already all quilted. You'll see the line. You see the lines on there? So it already gets quilted. So what we're going to do, I have the binding here. So let me see what we've got going. I want to make sure that I have enough. So, okay. So this is the back. This is the back of the placemat. So what we're going to do, you have your right side of the strip. So you're going to take that right side of your strip and you're going to pin it up here. And don't forget the fold. You want to put a fold on the edge. So this is a bigger piece. You know, we went from that mug rug, now we're going to placemat, a bigger piece here. So we're going to clip here. So then we're going to come across here. I'm going to go ahead and put another one, another clip in the middle here. And I'm going to cut just a little bit off this edge here, because on the other edge, so you have it folded here, clip here, and then we're going to do a clip, fold on here, and then another clip on here. So then we're going to turn around, and we're going to do the same thing on the other one. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. So right side, you want your right sides together. So you're going to go right side, and then you're going to put a fold on this edge here. You're going to go here and do a fold right there on the edge. So here's that edge, and we're going to come down. I'm going to put another clip right in the middle here. I have my fan running here. That fan feels good. And y'all are sitting there freezing your patooey off. Okay. So here is that. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to trim just a little bit off this edge. And I'm going to fold this over. So you have a fold on both edges, y'all. You have a fold on both edges. And I need to change. So what color do I have on the back? So what I'm going to do is, I'm thinking, what color should I quilt it? You know, we're going to put brown. I think we're going to use brown to for the top stitch on this. I'm going to leave the white on the bottom. I think the white will be fine on the bottom. So we're going to use a brown fabric on the top. So and we're going to take these over there. And we're going to go quilt. Or go bind. No, we're not going to quilt. We're going to go bind this quilt. I'm calling it a quilt. They're all like mini quilts. It's like a mini quilt there. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the color of thread. And I just use embroidery thread. I usually sew the majority of my stuff with embroidery thread. It works. So we're going to change that top stitch to a brown. They're mini quilts, right? They are mini quilts. So we're going to go ahead and thread this again with that brown. I'm going to leave white on the bottom because I think white will be fine. I think white will be fine on there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're just going to we're going to do just a 1/4 inch stitch across the top of there. So I use Floriani. I love Floriani and embroidery thread. That is probably my favorite. I have all kinds of different embroidery thread, but I like the Floriani. Okay, so we're going to go here. Like I said, we're just going to sew the top of here. Stay there. Take that. sew this strip on here. Like I said, you have right sides together on here. So this is a little bigger than that mug rug. He said start with a mug rug. When you get comfortable doing the binding those mug rugs, move on into a placemat. Get you a placemat made. And then once you're comfortable with that placemat, move on into a baby quilt. Move to a baby quilt. So we're going to sew the top of these. Okay. Do you pin the whole? So when I do a bigger quilt, I actually go and, like I said, I'll lay it out on my bed. So I'm in a fifth wheel, y'all. So my sewing area is in the toy hauler. So what I do is I'll lay it out on the bed. I'll clip that piece of binding, or the piece of the binding strip onto the back. I'll clip it all the way across. Then I'll go sew that. Then I'll go back to the bed again, and then I'll take and fold it up and then clip it on there. So thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows. Okay, so we have a fold on this side, a fold on this side. So you've sewed right sides together on that. So this is the back of your quilt. This is the back of it, because this is the front side of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this strip that we just sewed. I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to put the raw edge right to that seam. You're going to put the raw edge right to the seam of where you just stitched. So you're going to put it there. We're going to see if we can do this. How handy dandy am I? So you've got the raw edge of your fabric right there to your stitch, and then you're going to fold it up. Then you're going to fold it up like that. So then we're going to see how talented I am here. Woo, I did it. So then you fold it over up. Once you fold it up, you'll see that there's the edge of your quilt. So that strip is actually behind the edge of that quilt. So now what you're going to want to do is, once you do that, you're going to fold it over. Once you fold it over, you're going to clip it. So you see, this is actually a little thicker than those we call it mug rugs. So you're not going to have as big of a binding there. So let me clip these right quick. I'll show you. Get this clipped. I'll tell you, whoever created these clips is saving my finger from all these poking. How many times have you guys got poked by the what do you call it? Those needles. So then you just clip it across there. So you get it all clipped across there. And I'm going to show you guys, we'll do the other side. Once we do the other side, I'll show y'all what stitch we use. It's all in the stitch. Wonder clips. Yes, right? Did you know they have bigger wonder clips too? So they have the smaller ones, and then they have the littler ones too. So, yeah, right? Oh my gosh. So, okay. So you have your strip that's sewed on right sides together, fold on each side. So now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this up right there. The edge of your fabric is going to go right there to your seam. Right there to your seam. You're folding that fabric right there to the seam. So you have it right there at the seam. Once you have it folded right there at the seam, yeah, they do. So then you're going to fold it up like this. We're going to see if I can do this again. So you're going to fold it up like that. And you see that the raw edge of the fabric is actually behind, good morning, is actually behind that quilt. So now, yeah, bigger projects, yeah. So now that it's there, now what you're going to do is you're going to take and fold it over. Once you get it folded over, you're going to take and put those clips there. If you use pins, use pins. Either way, any whatever you use works. But you want to clip it down. You want to actually clip this down. They have the 1/2 inch. Do they really? I don't know if they have. I don't know. I don't see anything marked on them. So I'm clipping this here. I'll show you. And then I'll show you guys that stitch again. I'm going to keep showing you the stitch. That way, if anybody new hops on, you guys will see the stitch. Okay, so we have it all clipped. That is all clipped now. Now we'll do that stitch. I'll show you guys that stitch. So we're gonna flip that camera again. We're gonna go back over here. We're gonna go to that 3-18. 3-18 is the stitch I use. 3-18. So you have 3-17, 18, and 19. So on that 3-18, I increased that stitch all the way up to 7 millimeters. That way it has a bigger width on each side as it goes and grabs the fabric. And you have that center stitch that you line up. That's the center of your foot. So you take and you line that center of that foot up with the edge of your fabric. So you're going to take your foot and you're going to line it up right there on the edge of the fabric. That way that straight line goes right down the edge of your fabric. And then the sides, those side stitches go and grab each side. So let me go sew these two sides and I'll show you. And then we'll move on to the other corners. All right, so we're gonna go grab this side here. And like I said, keep the center of your foot right there on, go there. You keep the center of your foot right there on the edge of the fabric. You know for a fact that it's grabbing the top of your binding and your quilt. So it's going to connect those two together. Once we get this all stitched on here, I'll show y'all. You'll be able to see it a little bit better on this one because we have a darker color on this one. You could see it on the other one, but not as well. You're going to be able to see it on this one. So. Okay, so here you go. You see how that works? So that stitch, so being you have the foot centered right there on the edge of your fabric, it's doing that straight stitch right there at the edge, and then it goes and grabs both sides, the top and the bottom of the fabric. So perfect stitch. I like it stitch. I like that stitch. I use it for quite a few things. So we're going to go ahead and sew the other. Thank you for the follows. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sew this side, and then we'll get the other side going here. Just make sure you keep that centered, and you're not pushing or pulling on that fabric. You're letting the machine pull that fabric. If you push or pull, it changes the width or the look of the stitch too. So you want to let that machine pull that fabric for you. So as it's pulling across, just make sure that you keep the center of that foot lined up with the edge of your fabric there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I am not a perfectionist. Just so y'all know, I am not a perfectionist. If it doesn't look perfect, well, that's okay. Okay, so we're going to cut that. All right. Thanks for the follows, y'all. So, good morning, good morning. So you'll see, you have the edge of that stitch, and then you have it going. So, turns out really cool. And then on the edge, you have where that fold is that makes it where you don't have a raw edge on the side. So, good morning, Elizabeth. Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you, Miss Elizabeth. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the other edge. We're going to get the other edge done here. We're going to get that edge done. So like I said, you want to do a coordinating color thread for the back of your fabric there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I am awesome. It's good to see you, Miss Elizabeth. I have missed seeing you. Hope your job's going good. Hope you had a good summer. Can't believe the summer's already over. Where did the summer go? It's crazy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that other fabric and we're going to go to the back side. You're going to go to the back side of your quilt. You're going to go to the back side and you're going to go right sides. You want to do right sides together. Right sides together. And then you want to do that fold. You need the fold on the edge. You're going to find out in the next step why we do that fold. You'll find out why we do that fold in the next step. It's the coolest thing. It adds a corner. It adds a corner to your binding there. So, and it's fairly easy, y'all. Has this not been easy? I bet y'all want to try it now. I bet y'all want to go try binding. So now we're going to go there. And then you're going to come to the other side and we're going to trim this off, but make sure you trim it off with enough to be able to fold over. So let me grab these scissors here. We want to make sure that we leave enough to fold over. So we're going to take that and you're going to fold this over right there. This, yes, absolutely. This is, so I've gone small, medium, and now the next one we're going to do is like a quilted wall hanging, more or less like a mini baby quilt. So definitely can do on a quilt. Definitely can do on a quilt. So we're going to do this corner. So you have it pinned across, a fold on both sides, and then we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam across the top. A 1/4 inch seam across the top. Yes, you'll have to let me know, Miss Amy, how it works for you. You'll have to let me know how it works for you. So now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to take right sides together. Remember, right sides together. And we're going to put a fold. Don't forget the fold. The fold is where that corner comes in. The fold is where that corner comes in. There we go. So there's that corner there. So then we come across here. And you want to do, make sure that you cut, when you cut off this side, make sure you leave enough for that fold. So we're going to trim this off on this side. So we're going to fold that over. So there's that fold. So now we're going to go and do that 1/4 inch seam across here. So let's go ahead and sew that. I'm going to go back over to my straight stitch. Every once in a while I forget to go back to the straight stitch. Like, I start stitching. It's like, yeah, y'all, we're at 45K this morning. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to do 1/4 inch seam here. Pull you down. I said your bigger projects, you want to put more clips. You want to do more clips on your bigger projects. These smaller ones, you can kind of wing it. So, all right, cut that one. And then we're going to come across and do the other side. And again, on your bobbin thread, make sure it's a coordinating color of whatever's on the back of your quilt. Make sure it's a coordinating color because that stitch on the back you're going to see. So, but if it's a coordinating color, it doesn't stick out, so you're okay. Okay. So now we're going to get these, these corners. Okay. So we have this right sides together, fold on each side. Now you're going to wrap a gift. Y'all ready to wrap a gift? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this corner. Remember how you wrap gifts? Presents, Christmas. I'm going back to Christmas presents. Helping my mother wrap Christmas presents. So you have a corner here. On that corner. So this one, we're going to do this. We're going to clip. We're going to clip here. So you have the corner there. And then on the other side, on the bigger ones, you do a corner and then you come over. So you have the corner on this side. Once you have the corners, you're going to take and fold this up right to that seam that you just stitched. Right to the seam that you just stitched. So now you have it sewed. So you have that corner, then you have it sewed right to that stitch right there, or folded right to the stitch. So now we're going to fold this up like this. Let me unclip this other side. Turn this around. So we have it, we have the corners on there. You have your corner, and then we have it folded, and you're going to see, you see the edge of your quilt. You're like, wait a minute, the edge of the quilt is showing. So it's not going to show because you're going to take and you're going to fold this over. When you fold it over, you end up with a corner from that folded corner. Let me fix it. Trying to hold it and do that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me fold this. Trying to hold it and fold it is fun, y'all. So let me get mine folded, and that way I can show you that you end up with a corner there. Fold this over and clip these. So you're literally, so you're kind of like a Christmas gift there, guys. Kind of like a Christmas gift. So when you do that, so you have it, you had it folded over, and then you folded it again, and then when you folded it back over, you have your corner. You've got your corner. So then what we're going to do is we're going to stitch down that corner, come all the way across, and stitch back up that corner. So let's do that again. Let's do that again. So you come to your side, you have your fold, your right sides together. Here comes a Christmas gift. Here comes your Christmas gift. So now you're going to take and you're going to fold there. You're going to put a fold, just a corner, like your corners on your Christmas gifts. And then you're going to fold it up. You want to make sure you fold on both edges. And you're folding it right to where you're stitched. You're folding that fabric right to where that stitch is. And then once you get that folded, you're going to fold it up like this. And then when you fold it up like this, hold on, let me get mine. Let me get mine folded up so we can see here. And you can play with those folds. You can play with the folds if you're like, oh, I wanted it a little bit of different or a little bit smaller corner. So depending on however you do that is dependent on the corners you're going to get. So we're going to come across. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys. Get this folded here. So we have it corners. We have the corners here folded, and then you folded the top over too, and you'll see it's behind the edge of your quilt. So once you have that, and don't let it go. It's harder on the bigger projects. Like I said, on your bigger projects, throw it on your bed. Throw it on your bed. It's the easiest way to do it, is throw it on your bed. Hold on. Sorry. Trying to do this here. I'm going to clip this now. That way you guys can see. Because what you do is you take those corners and then you fold it in. Once you fold it in, and then clip this one. So you have the corners. So this is actually, go Google placemats on Temu. You get a set of 4 of them for like $1. So that's what this is. It's like it's got like what do you call it? I don't know. I went crazy on Temu for a while getting things, and I'm like, so I ended up with a bunch of these little things. But it works well because it's just a thin piece of fabric, and I'm like, that thin piece of fabric is not going to work for a placemat. So I went and did Quilt As You Go on the back of it with batting and fabric. So didn't it turn out cute? Cute, 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 right? So, all right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch down, stitch all the way across, and stitch up. Y'all want to see that stitch again? Are you good with the stitch? You want me to show you that stitch one more time? Okay, we'll show you the stitch one more time. Okay, so stitch I use. I'm on a Brother Luminaire 2. Any machine is going to more or less have around the same kind of stitch. So what I do is, you see that 3-18? That is the stitch that I use. You can use that 317, the 319. You can use any stitch you want, but that 318 is the one that works best for me. So you're going to see what I do is I take, if your machine has the possibility of doing this, widen that stitch up to 7 millimeters. Take and widen that stitch, because now what you see is you have that center line that you're going to sew right on the edge of that binding, and then it's going to go and grab the binding, grab the quilt, grab the binding, grab the quilt as it's sewing that straight stitch down the edge. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your the foot, and you're going to center it right there on the edge. That way, as you see right here, that stitch was centered right there on the edge, and then it went and grabbed both sides. So we're going to center it right there on the foot on there. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to sew down the corner, come across, and then back up the corner. So let me flip this around. Load you guys on here. So we're going to come here, and we're going to go down this corner. So we're going to go down the corner first. We're going to stop there, and then we're going to turn it. And then, like I said, keep the middle of that foot right there on the edge of the fabric. That way it puts that sewing line right there on the edge, and then it grabs the binding and, oops, the clip was holding it over there. And then it grabs the binding and the quilt as you're going. Right there on the edge of the fabric. Then turn it again. We're going to come back up this side. And we're going to cut that one, and then we'll go do the other one. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. So, as you can see, so we went right down the middle, and you see how that center stitch is kind of hidden right there beside that. And then you have your corners where you sewed up the corner. Easy binding, y'all. So we're going to do a wall hanging next. We'll do that wall hanging next. So we're going to sew. So then we're going to come down here, and like I said, you're centering it, centering that foot right there on the edge. Centering that foot right there on the edge. And let the machine pull the fabric. I'm not pushing. I'm letting it pull. You don't want to pull. You don't want to push. You want to make sure that it just pulls with the feed dog on it there. Because it changes and weakens, more or less weakens the stitch, really. And it changes what the stitch looks like, so. Especially if you're using like a really decorative stitch. Because these machines, I'll tell you, these new machines have all kinds of different stitches on them. Kind of crazy. Okay, so we're going to cut that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the sewing table because, right? I happened to run across it, and I'm like, you know what? It was when Ma was doing binding, so we were always looking for different stitches, and we were looking for quick stitches because she always liked to use some fun, you know, because she used heart stitches, she used different kind of stitches, and they all worked great, you know, but there for a while I had so many quilts going. She goes, I need a quick stitch. So we went going through and just trying one by one by one, and y'all, oh, I don't know why I'm sitting here holding the camera. Sorry about that. But yeah, that was the one that we found. So worked out really well. Did that not turn out gorgeous? And look, the corners are cool. The corners turn out cool. Good morning. Good morning. So we've officially binded a placemat this morning. And we have binded 2 mug rugs. We have binded 2 mug rugs. So we started out small. We went to medium. Now we're going big. We're going big, y'all. So this is what we made. So this is what we quilted yesterday. This is what we quilted yesterday. So this binding works for any of it. It works for any of it, y'all. So now what we're going to do, we're going to bind this. We're going to take and bind this because this is going on my wall at work, y'all. I need something fun on my wall at work right behind. If you walk in my office, you'll see I've got quilts and all kinds. You can definitely see that I'm a seamstress, or not a seamstress. I am not a seamstress. I'm a quilter, a crafter, whatever you want to call it. Not a seamstress. Not going to call myself a seamstress because I have people that are like, can you hem my pants? No. No, no, no. I don't like hemming. No. I used to make my husband's jackets when he worked in the coal mines because he needed like some really thick, because I'd take and make jean, and I'd take jean material, batting, and then flannel, and then line it with flannel, and that was what he wore in the coal mines. So, but I made him jacket. Somebody stole his jacket one time. Could you believe that? How? I mean, seriously, crazy. Yeah, I'm like, I told my husband, I'm like, he can't wear it anywhere. This is a one-of-a-kind jacket. Nobody else makes these. So I was like, people. Okay, so we're gonna do this one a little differently. So we're gonna go down this way. So this is the back side of the quilt, y'all. Did this not turn out cool? And I will use all kinds of different sizes of hoops on this thing. I used all kinds of different sizes of hoops, and it turned out so pretty. It turned out so pretty. No, he didn't. He never did find it. Whoever took it knew better than to wear it to work. Whoever took it knew better than to wear it to work, I'll tell you. So I think what we're going to do, we're just going to use a different strip on each side of this because this is just a fun quilt. Yeah, right? That's a good one, Robin. That one's a good one. So what we're going to do is we're going to... I need to grab some of my clips here. All right, so here's clips. So edge of the fabric here, back of the fabric, right sides together. So you have the right side of your strip facing the right side of your backing. So now we're going to fold. So this is bigger. So like I said, you can do this 2.5 inch strip, 2.5 inch strip. So I'm going to take and put a fold, just a small fold on the edge. We're going to put a fold on the edge and we're going to clip it on here to the edge. So then I'm going to come across, like I said, your bigger projects. Like I said, I lay quilts out. This is a small, just wall hanging. So we're going to do this on my cutting table here. I only have so much space here in my toy hauler. So we're going to come across there. We're going to clip it here. We're going to clip it here. And then we're going to cut on the other edge. Make sure you leave enough for, I cut it a little bit too wide. I mean, the fold can be whatever size. It does, just as long as you have some kind of fold on the edge. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, okay. So we have binding on there, a fold on there, clipped all the way across, and a fold on that side. Pretty much the same thing we did on the what do you call it? On the mug rug. On the mug rug and on the placemat. Exact same process. Exact same process. So as y'all see, my bobbin kind of messed up, but I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be on the back. I don't care. This is mine. It doesn't have to be perfect. So ignore the stitching right there. Ignore that stitching. So we have our 2.5 inch strip. We're going to go right sides together, a fold. You're going to put a fold on this side, fold on this side, and you're going to clip it. And you want to put the clip that's going to, because you have a flat side of your clip, you want to make sure that that goes to the front of your quilt. So then we're going to come across and we're going to clip the rest of this here. Come across here. You know, the price of the machines, that's why I say go on Marketplace or something and start Googling, because people get rid of their machines and have barely even used them just to buy the new machine. So it's funny, the lady I bought the machine behind me, I got another brother a few weeks back, and she's like, oh, it's got a lot of stitches on it. Y'all, it's got 300,000 stitches on it. I got over 2 billion stitches on mine. And I told her, I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot of stitches. So, and she gave me a discount, and I'm like, I'm going to take that discount, but I'm like, okay, yeah, lots of them on there. So, okay. So we have that straight stitch. So we're going to go back and do that straight stitch, but we're going to come back to the cutting table, because as it gets bigger, you can't really do it in your lap. You can do the placemats in your lap. You can do the mug rugs in your lap. But as it gets bigger, you got to come back here, and you got to have somewhere that you can actually fold it up and actually grab it. So we'll come back here, but let's go ahead and go stitch this. Y'all keep on going on walkabouts with me. I appreciate the walkabouts. Oh. Okay, so we're going to go here. Like I said, we're going to change this stitch, go back here. Okay, so we're going to do... We have a long armor here in Columbus, Georgia. Everything goes out to someone who does that. Oh my gosh. You can seriously, if you have an embroidery machine, you can do your long arming. Me personally, okay, just my opinion. This is just my opinion, y'all. Okay. I have had one quilt quilted by a long armor, and she charged me an arm and a leg to quilt this quilt. I long armed for years. Long arming is not that hard, y'all, and I think it's overcharged. Just my opinion, it's overcharged. But like I said, that's just my opinion. I mean, you do have some people that don't charge as much, but yeah, it's, you know, once I started quilting my own quilts, because I went from first one I did, I quilted, I like I said, I paid to have it quilted, and I'm like, holy cow, you know, and so I went and got a John Flynn frame. I do. So I have my brother, this brother can literally sew the quilt together. It can do the quilting in the hoop and do the binding. It'll do all of it. So, you don't have to have a long arm to quilt. So we'll do another. So next Wednesday, I'm going to show y'all how to Mirander. If you don't have an embroidery machine, I will show y'all how to Mirander. So, because you don't have to have an embroidery machine to quilt it. There's other ways to do it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that stitch on the side here. We're going to stitch these. Oh, wait. We're going to take this off because we're going to change the color of this thread. We're going to change the color of this thread. Cut that off there. We're going to put purple. We're going purple, y'all. The back, we can stay with that color. We're going to go a purple. Okay, let's try this again. Go to the other side. So once we get this stitch, we'll go back to the table and I'll show y'all how we fold it. The reason I fold it this way is if you fold it on the other side of the quilt, sometimes you end up with the edge of your quilt on the outside of your binding, and you don't want to see the edge of that. So we're going to take this. Come on. All right, let's go back off here. Okay. Absolutely, Miss Amy. I posted, if you want to go watch, go to my YT page. If you click the link in my bio and click on the YT, I posted yesterday's video. I showed the process of actually us quilting. We did this quilting in the hoop, and I showed y'all how to actually create templates. You can actually create templates in there, depending on what machine you have, because some machines have projectors, some machines don't have projectors. So I wanted to show y'all how you could actually do the quilting in the hoop. So yeah, didn't it turn out pretty? It turned out really pretty. So so if you want to go check out that page, you can see how to get designs in your quilt. So and then also so next Wednesday we're going to do Mirandering, and that's actually just kind of freehanding that quilting. So you're very welcome, Miss Amy. You are very welcome. Not a problem. Okay, so we're going to go down here. So now we have, I'm going to show you guys. So we have sewed. We've sewed that strip on there. You had a fold on one side, a fold on the other side, and you've got right sides together. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this strip and you're going to fold it up to that seam. So you're going up to the seam where you just stitched. You're going to fold it up there. Once you fold it up there, So let me pull it over here. So you're going to fold it up here. Once you have it folded up there, you're going to fold it up like this. And then that way you see it on this side. So it's, you see how it's behind that? You could actually fold it over the top like that and fold it over. But I've found if I do it that way, sometimes the edge of the fabric shows. So I like to go and fold it right to the edge of that seam and then fold it up again, and then you're going to fold it over. When you fold it over, then you're going to clip it. Then you'll clip it right there. So I kind of do it from this side. I wanted to show you guys that side, that way you could see. So, but you take the front of your fabric, you fold it over like this, kind of push it back there like this, and then fold it over. And then, like I said, when you work on a bigger project, you get those clips out, because on the smaller ones, you just fold it and then grab it and just clip it. Not a problem. On your bigger ones like this, you're going to kind of work your way across. So you just kind of fold it over, give it a fold, grab those clips, clip it in place. And move it over a little bit. And sometimes you just go to the other edge, put it down, back behind there. Like I said, you want to do it behind that. I do it behind that because I don't like to have the edge of that raw fabric sometimes sneak out of your binding. I'm like, wait a minute, I see the fabric there. I don't want to see the fabric. So we clip it there. We come over here and we clip it again. So we have it all clipped. It's folded over and then it's clipped. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Again, what you're going to do, you have your right sides. See, that's where my bobbin messed up and I didn't realize it, but like I said, it's mine, it's hanging on a wall, it's hiding. So we're going to have the raw edge of your seam right there at the edge of your seam where you just stitched, and then you're going to fold it up and then fold it over. So I do it from this side. So being you do it from this side, you're going to take and fold it behind the edge of your quilt right there. Fold it behind the edge of your quilt. Like that, and then you're going to fold it over. Grab that clip, clip it in place. This is where you need clips. You're going to have clips. Yeah, I don't see why not. I've never done a round one, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I don't know. Okay. So we're going to keep going down. We might have to try a circle. We might have to try a circle. I've never done a circle. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. Okay. So we're going to clip here. Here is your clip. You said you're folding behind. You want to fold behind this, back here at the edge of your stitch right there. That way you're pulling it over. The binding is a 2.5 inch stitch. 2.5 inch. Yes. Thanks, Amy. So then you're putting this back here, over there, behind the edge of your quilt. Behind the edge of your quilt. And then you're folding it over like this. And then you're clipping. And then once we get back to the machine, I'll show you the perfect stitch. You know, I don't know, Jen. I seriously have never done round. I seriously have never done round. We may have to do round. I don't know. So then we're going to fold this, because you have your fold. So we're going to fold this down behind here. Make sure it's all behind there. And then we're going to fold up. Then we're going to fold this up here. We're going to fold that up. We're going to go over a little bit on live today, y'all, because I want to finish this. We want to get this finished. So we're going to go over a little bit today. Okay. So there we go. So now we're going to go back to the machine because we have it all folded over. We're going to go back to the machine and stitch this. And that way you guys can see. So like I said, we're going to go over a little bit on live today. Just a little bit. That's okay. Okay. Oops. Let's do this. To doom. I'm going to show y'all what stitch we're going to use. Flip this camera. So if y'all are just joining, you go over to 3. So I'm on a Luminaire 2. Depending on where your stitches are, find your stitches on the stitches that you're looking for. I use that 3-18 because it has a center stitch and then it goes out and grabs both sides there. Goes out and grabs. But what I do is I take and increase that stitch all the way up to 7 millimeters. I increase the stitch all the way up to 7 millimeters. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. So you have 3-17, 3-18, and 3-19. Those are my go-tos. Those are my go-tos. 3-18 is the most awesome one. That is the one that I like to do. Why on the placemat you folded the corner to triangle, on this you fold? So Jan, so the one side, on the one side, the first side you do, you just fold it over. On that second side, when we go to this side, that's where the triangle comes in. So on the first side, you just fold it over. On the first side you just fold it over. And then when you go and move to your second side, when you add that binding and you fold it, that's where you do the corner. That way you get that corner. You don't need the corner on the first one because you just want to get it folded over. On the second one, that's where you get that corner and have that corner in there. That gives you the corner on your binding. So first one, you don't fold the corner. Second side, you fold the corner. So yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. And remember on this, you want to center that foot right there on the edge. Center that foot right there on the edge of your fabric. That way that stitch is going right there on the edge. So we're going to let that stitch, like I said, and then let your machine pull it. We're going to let your machine pull it there. And I'm not pushing or anything. The machine is pulling this. The machine's pulling this. I'm just kind of guiding it. So I'm just kind of guiding it across. Is this the perfect way to do binding? I don't know. It's my perfect way to do binding. Like I said, everybody does binding differently. Everybody does it differently. There's some people, my mother-in-law, she hand stitches her binding. There's some people that machine stitch it. There's so many different ways to do binding on quilts. There's not really, is there a perfect way? No, but, this is an easy way. This is a way that you can do binding on a quilt. Because, this can be one of those things that are like, I don't want to do a quilt because I'll have to do the binding and I just don't know how to do binding. Well, now you do. Now you have a way that you can actually do binding. And I think it looks phenomenal myself. I love the way this looks. So, and it's all in what you like. Everybody likes different things. So, that's why it's called quilting. It's not perfect. Is there a perfect quilt out there? No. There's always some mishap in each one you do. Always some mishap in each one you do. So you'll see. So that line went right there at the edge of the fabric, and then it went and grabbed the binding and the quilting. So turns out really pretty, right? Turns out really pretty. So let's go ahead and get the other side. We'll get the other side stitched. Like I said, we're going to go over a little bit. That way we can finish this. So go ahead and grab this one. And just let those feed dogs pull that. Don't push or pull your fabric. Just kind of guide it. Just keep it guided there. Just keep the center of that foot right there on the edge of the fabric. Center of the foot right there on the edge. And I always use a color of bobbin is the same as whatever you've got on the back. So I didn't really match it up on this one, but like I said, I'm not worried about the back. This is mine. This is going to go hang on the wall in my office. So just add a little bit more color to my office. So go back and we will pin on the other side and then we'll be done, guys. So we will have officially done 2 mug rugs, a placemat, and a wall hanging today. So, like I said, going a little over today, but that's okay. We're just going to go over this a little bit. It's fine. Okay, so let's go back to the table again. Back to the table. We're running over this morning, Cynthia. We're running over, but that's okay. I got to go to Payson today, so it's okay. We can go over. So, that turned out wonderful. That turned out wonderful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the other side. So we're going to go do the other side. So we're going to take a strip. Like I said, we're using a different strip. I like the brighter. We're going to do that one. So you're going to take your strip right side together on that strip. And then so you're going to go right side to your backing. Push that down. So you have your right sides together, and then you want to take that fold. You need to remember the fold there. And I need to go grab my clips. I need clips. I got a few here. I might have enough for that one. So we're going to clip across here. Put a clip on here. Like I said, you want to fold on the edge, and then you go right on the edge of this. Clip this off here. Fold this. Like I said, you want to fold on both sides. You want to fold on both sides there. And this is where that corner comes into play. And this is what you were asking earlier. Why do I put a corner on one side and then not the other side? So the first two sides you do, the first two edges, you just fold it over. You don't do that corner. The second one you do, we're going to do a corner. So we'll turn the other side. We're going to add so now we're going to take another strip here. So again, right sides together, put a fold here. You're going to put a fold on the edge there. So you're going to clip that there. So you got the fold there, and then you're going to clip it all the way across, because you're going to come across here, just do a 1/4 inch seam across the edging there. Clip this right to the edge. There's that. So now we trim off the side. Make sure you leave enough for that fold, because you need that fold on the edge. That was a little wide of a fold. Is there a perfect size of fold? No, not really. You'll find as you start doing it that you'll get to the point where, like, okay, I can do this fold. This, if I do this wide of a fold, it'll do this. If I do this wide of a fold, it'll do that. As you start doing binding, like I said, start with little mug rugs. Start with little mug rugs. Do the little mug rugs, and they don't have to be quilted. The mug rugs don't have to be quilted. Just get you a 5x7. Go a 5x7 piece of fabric and a backing fabric, a batting fabric. Sew a few lines across it, and then bind it. It's a perfect way to try binding. Perfect way to try binding. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back here, and like I said, we're going to sew. We are going to sew that strip with a 1/4 inch seam right here, right quick. So just a 1/4 inch seam across the top here, guys. bigger ones you do, as you go with the bigger ones, the clips are a must because that fabric will move. So you want to make sure that you have it clipped, pinned, something. I got something next to my spinning wheel over there. I gotta move it. Okay, so get back over there. So then we'll go sew the other side. Once we get this done, I will show you that corner again, and we're almost done, y'all. We are literally almost done. This is the fastest binding, y'all. If you need to bind a quilt really quick, this is the quickest way to bind a quilt, y'all. Quickest way to bind a quilt. Like I said, you can do it by hand, do that blind hem stitch. Yeah. I don't sew by hand. I am not a, oops. I don't stitch anything by hand. I have, tennis elbow. Years and years of waiting tables before my before my current job. So, needless to say. Yeah, I don't have the patience for all that either, Amy. I am one of those people that like to, be able to finish a project in a day. If I can finish a project in a day, that works out for me. That one makes it where it works out for me. So, all right. So you have your seam. This is where that corner comes in. This is where that corner comes in. So you have the fold. Here's your Christmas gift. There's your Christmas gift. So you have that right there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it up right there and then fold it over. So, like I said, we're going to push this down here. So, here is your corner. So, you're going to fold this over like that Christmas gift. And then fold this down. And then fold it over. There goes your corner. That is your corner there. Again, you have your fold. Fold it over. Fold this over down there like that. And you're behind that, and then you're going to pull it forward like this. There's your corner. So let me pin that. So then we're going to go across and fold and clip. And then we'll get to the other corner, and we'll do the same thing. I said, you do the corner on so you do your first two strips. On those first two strips, you just fold it over. You don't do that corner. On the last strip, you do that corner. That gives you the corner there. So, I mean, I guess you could possibly do it on both ones, but I think you may end up a little off if you do that. So we're going to fold the corner there. Fold the corner like a Christmas present. Fold that down, and then fold that over. There's your corner, okay? Put that clip, and then we'll go over to the other side and do it again. We'll go to the other side and do that again. So now we have this corner. So you have your strip sewed right sides together with that fold. So now you have the top of the quilt. So you got that corner. Christmas gift, y'all. Christmas gift, birthday gift, something like that. That's, that's what I keep thinking. So you're going to fold it over like that. So you fold it over. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I've ever hit 60K, y'all. Y'all are phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate y'all. So you have your corner. Here is your corner like this. And then you fold this over. You're going to fold this over like this. And then when you fold that over, there's your corner. Again, your corner's folded over. Then you fold this over down here. And you go behind the quilt. You're going behind the quilt with that piece of fabric. And then you come over. There's your corner. So then we're going to keep going across. So you keep folding this fabric across. And you come across there. Keep folding that fabric behind the quilt there, y'all. Behind the quilt. All right, so keep going. flip that. So you have your other corner here. You have your other corner. Here's your Christmas gift, guys. I'm going to call it Christmas gift corner. I'm just going to name it the Christmas gift corner. So the strips are cut 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches on these strips. So then you fold it down behind and then you fold it over. There's your corner, guys. Is that not the coolest? It gives you a corner. It gives you a corner. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go sew these. And I'll show y'all what stitch. One more time. Last time I'm showing you guys. Okay, so, because I'm going to have to run after this, but I had to extend my live today so we could finish this. So we're going to flip this camera. Okay, so like I said, I have a Luminaire too that I'm using. They have stitches pretty much on all the machines. I know the majority of machines that I have found, as long as it's just not a straight stitch machine only, you're going to have a stitch that's kind of like this. So stitch I use, that 3-18 is the stitch I use, y'all. That 317, 319 will pretty much do the same thing. I'm thinking that one up here, the 308 might do the same thing too. You got a center stitch there, but 318 is my go-to stitch. That's the one that I use. So then I go up on the width and I go up to 7 millimeters. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That was very sweet of you. So, 7 millimeters. I go up to that 7 millimeters. So, because you have the straight stitch, it's going to go up to the side. It's going to go right down the side. Good morning, Miss Sheena. Good morning. Go up the side of the stitch there. So, and then it's going to stitch all the way across over and over and over on that. So, let me flip this around because we're going to go stitch this stitch. You are awesome. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. Miss Sheena is my lovely niece. Love you, Miss Sheena. All right. So let's get this on here and we're going to stitch down the side of this. Thank y'all for the gifts. Thank y'all for the gifts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go. So we're going to come down the corner first and then go down the side. So just don't forget that you want to center that foot right there at the edge of your fabric. Center that foot right there at the edge. And then we're going to turn it this way and then come down this way. And let the machine pull the fabric. Let that machine pull that fabric, y'all. Sometimes you got to pick up the fabric or pick up the actual quilt. So we're going to get this. So we'll stitch all the way across and keeping that middle of that foot right there on the edge. With the middle of the foot right there on the edge of that fabric, it kind of hides that stitch in the edge of that fabric, but yet then it goes and grabs your binding and your quilt. It grabs the binding and the quilt on there, y'all. I'm excited. This is going to be pretty hanging on my wall. This is going to be pretty hanging on my wall there, y'all. We're going to come all the way to the edge. So we're going to come to the edge of this one and then we're going to go up that corner. So we're going to go here. And y'all, I don't use a presser foot. I just use the start and stop on my machine. Because I find that the start and stop on the machine, it allows you to pay more attention to that than you do your foot. Because a lot of times when you're going, you'll push that foot too hard and you're like, whoa, slow down. This way you can decide how fast you want that stitch to go and then just pay more attention to what's going on with your with the stitch that you're working on. So just my personal opinion is that you don't have to use a presser foot. A lot of your machines now take that presser foot off. If you have a start and stop button, it's like an arrow button. Try using that start and stop button and see if your machine will allow you to quilt without your foot. or sew without your foot. If you have an embroidery machine, if it's an embroidery machine, I would say the majority of your embroidery machines will allow you to stitch without that presser foot. You don't have to use the pedal. I haven't used the pedal for years. Like I said, you're just going right there on the edge of the fabric. That way that line sews right down the edge. And it's going in and grabbing all of those pieces there. Grabs your binding, grabs your quilt. Comes across here. Almost to the edge, so we're going to get to the edge of this one, and then we're going to come up that corner. Turn it, come up the corner. Cut that. And then we will go back. Yeah, I'll show you the stitch finished. Hold on. So now, here is the corner. So we went down the corner and then we came across. And as you see how that edge of that stitch is right there on the edge, and then it goes and grabs both sides. So like I said, I usually do a coordinating fabric on the back side. So we binded 2 mug rugs today on there, and you see the coordinating fabric. You can't really see the stitch on the back. Like I said, you can, if you hold it up close, you can see that stitch. But if you use a coordinating fabric, it kind of hides. It kind of hides on there. So what we did is we did 2 mug rugs today on the binding. I am on YT, so, and I post my page. I post my my lives on YT. I started posting my lives on YT, so you can go watch it. You can, if you click the link in my bio here, you'll see my YT page and my FB page. So go give me a follow on those. I will be posting posting videos on there too. So like I said, we did 2 mug rugs today. 2 mug rugs. We did a placemat. We binded a placemat. And then we binded this wall hanging. So we actually quilted this yesterday. We did the quilting on this in the hoop, y'all. This is quilted in the hoop. Is that not pretty? It is totally quilted in the hoop. So now it's all binded. Now it is all binded. So all binded. So, alrighty. I'm going to have to let y'all go. Tomorrow is rope day, y'all. And the request for rope day, I'm a little nervous, is to add handles to a rope bow. Handles to a rope bow. Oh my gosh, 67K. Robin, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the follow, y'all. Thanks for the follow. So tomorrow is rope day. Friday's a rope day. We're always doing something fun with rope on Friday. So tomorrow will be rope day. I will post a schedule for next week. Next week, we're looking at doing mirandering on the sewing machine. We are looking at doing, we're going to make mug rugs in the embroidery machine. We are going to be making a bear. We're going to be making a bear next week. I have one more day. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to contemplate on that one. So, you guys all have a wonderful day. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for making my live wonderful. You guys are all wonderful. Love y'all.